Demand refers to quantity of commodity which a consumer is willing and buy, is willing and able to buy, is willing and able. I would like to discuss this entire definition in detail. Is willing and able to buy or purchase, willing and able to buy or purchase at various prices during a particular period of time. During a particular period of time. Now, this definition gives a lot of information about demand. Usually what we feel, demand means what? I want apple. You will say, okay, fine, Miss is demanding apple. But in economics, this is not defined as demand. I want 2 kg of apples at the rate of rupees 100 per kg. Now I want apple and I want 2 kg of apple at the rate of rupees 100 per kg now. There is difference in both the sentences. What is difference in both the sentences? Second sentence is clearly mentioning how much quantity of apple is needed. At what price you need apple. When do you need that apple? I just said quantity of the commodity. It refers to quantity of a commodity which consumer is willing and able to buy at various prices. In my sentence, I clearly mentioned at rupees 100 per kg. So, always demand should be expressed with price. During a period of time, I said I want 2 kg of apple at the rate of rupees 100 per kg now. Now, when I said now, that means I am expressing it during a particular period of time. Remember one thing, your demand should be something which you are willing and able to buy. Now, what do you mean by willing and able? Sometimes we just express our desire. Now, for example, I want a charter plane for myself. Now, charter plane, with my given set of income, what I am earning right now, I know that I am not willing, maybe I am willing, but I am not able to put that much of effort that I can generate so much of income that I can buy a charter plane for myself. So remember one thing, your demand should be the one which you are willing and able to buy. Anything which you are not willing and able to buy is just called as desire. But when anything which you are willing and able to buy, which there is something which you are willing and able to buy, we call it as effective desire. So, effective desire which should be expressed with price, which should be expressed with a given period of time, together this will be called as demand. This will be called as demand. What is demand? Demand refers to quantity of the goods which consumer is willing and able. Willing and able का मतलब क्या हुआ? The demand should be effective desire. That desire for which you are willing and able to put effort to acquire it, which should be expressed at a various prices during a period of time. 3 things should be specified in demand. It should be effective desire. Second, demand should always be expressed in price. Third, demand should always be expressed during a period of time. Demand is a flow concept because it is expressed over the period of time. Now, this was about the definition of demand. We have various types of demand. Let us see which are the different types of demand we have. So the first demand we have is individual demand. What do you mean by individual demand? The quantity of the goods which are demanded by single consumer is called as individual demand. We have second, market demand. The quantity of the goods which are demanded by many consumers is called as market demand. Second, ex ante demand. Now what do you mean by ex ante? Ex ante means that quantity of the goods which you intend to buy. Now let's say if I am going to market, I decide today I will buy 5 kg of rice, 2 kg of wheat, 1 kg of sugar. This is what I am intending to buy. What you intend to buy is called as ex ante demand. What you intend to buy is called as ex ante demand. But now when you go to market, you end up buying certain quantity. You might end up buying more quantity, you might end up buying less quantity, or you might end up buying same. So what you actually bought is called as ex post demand. What you intend to buy, ex ante. How much you end up buying, ex post. Third type of demand, so individual demand, market demand. Ex ante, ex post. Third demand is joint demand. Goods which are demanded jointly in combination to fulfill, to satisfy your want. For example, if you are demanding a petrol car, you will demand petrol with it. Then only your want will be satisfied. If you demand printer, you will demand paper. You will demand ink with it, bread, butter, mobile charger. These are the goods which are demanded in combination so that your want can be satisfied. It is called as joint demand. It is called as joint demand. Goods which are demanded in combination is called as joint demand. Is called as joint demand. Goods which are demanded in combination are called as joint demand, and these goods are called as complementary goods. These goods are called as complementary goods. Then fourth is derived demand. Derived demand are those goods which are demanded for carrying out some production activity. Usually factors of production, land, labor, capital. Now for example, if I want to construct a house, I will demand bricks, I will demand labor, I will demand cement, because I don't want them for my self-consumption. I am demanding them for making a house. So that's called as derived demand. Remember one thing always, FOP, all the factors of production come under joint demand, derived demand. Derived demand are the ones, as I said, which are demanded for your production activity. So that will be called as derived demand. Then we have composite demand. What do you mean by composite demand? Composite demand is the demand in which the goods which you are demanding can be put to multiple uses. Let's take example of electricity in this room. Now in this room, electricity is used for AC, for light, fan, my laptop charging, my phone charging, Wi-Fi. For all these purposes, electricity is getting used in this room. So electricity is demanded is one thing, but we are putting it to multiple uses. Let's take example of milk. Now we get milk in our house. Everybody use milk in different way. Like for example, I use milk for tea. My sister use it for coffee. My son use it for his milkshakes. My mother makes curd out of it. My cook makes paneer out of it. So milk in your house is a one product, but it can be put to multiple uses. So that's called as composite demand. So these are the different types of demand. These are the different types of demand. Now, we have seen so many times in market, sometimes demand for commodity goes up, sometimes demand for commodity falls. What causes rise in demand, fall in demand? What causes sometimes demand to be more? What causes sometimes demand to be less? What factors affect demand? What factor affect demand? So let's see what factors will affect demand. Those factors which affect demand are called as determinants of demand. The most important factor that affect demand is price. Usual behavior we have seen that when a price of a commodity goes up, its demand will fall. When the price of a commodity is low, its demand is more. Usually, we see this is the behavior of the consumer. They would demand more when the price is less. They would demand less when the price is more. So, price goes up, demand goes down. Price goes down, demand goes up. Price and demand shows inverse relationship. Price and demand has inverse relationship. Second factor that affects demand is income of the consumer. In economics, income is denoted with Y. And this is a bit different. This is a bit in detail. Let's do more in it. Now there are three types of goods which you can demand. Your income is going to have impact on three types of goods. The first goods are called as normal goods. Normal goods means sofa, furniture, chair, bags, clothes. These all are normal goods. Now when your income increases, you buy more of the normal goods. Your income increase more, you buy more of the normal goods. So normal goods and income has direct relationship. Let's do that in graphical form. This is y-axis, x-axis. Y-axis is representing income, x-axis is representing demand. Let's use y income and increase income is y1, q and q1. Now if you see, when the income, my income was y, my normal goods I was demanding was q. Now when my income increased to y1, I demanded more of the normal goods. I demanded OQ1. At OY income, my demand was OQ. When my income increased from OY to OY1, my demand increased from OQ to OQ1. In short, my demand curve with increase in my income for normal goods goes upward. Why it goes upward? Because there is a direct relationship between my income and normal goods. Income will increase, normal goods ka demand will also increase. There is direct relationship. This is called as positively sloping upward demand curve. So your income is going to have what impact on normal goods? Income will increase, your demand for normal goods will increase. But sometimes in our house, we consume inferior goods. Like for example, let's say in a family, people are buying loose milk, like maybe the cheaper one. But now when the income increases, they will not buy more of the cheaper goods. It's better substitutes are available. So the moment income increases, what we will start doing? We will reduce the consumption of inferior goods, and now we will start switching to its better substitutes. So when your income increases, your consumption of inferior goods will decrease. Your consumption for inferior goods will decrease because you are going to switch to its better substitute. You are going to switch to its better substitute. So income increases, normal goods का consumption increases. Your income increases, your inferior goods का consumption decreases. Income and inferior, because you know कि now I am earning better. Why should I consume inferior one? Let us consume the better one. Okay. Now, for example, let's draw inferior goods का curve. When your income was OY, you were consuming OQ inferior goods. But now, when your income increased from OY to OY1, you consumed lesser of the inferior goods. Instead of OQ, now you will consume less than OQ. Less than OQ. So your how is going to be your income inferior goods? The curve backward. It's going to be sloping backward. It's sloping backward. Sorry. It is sloping backward. Why? Because as your income is increasing, you are consuming lesser of the inferior goods. So you are sloping backward. Now third type of goods are inexpensive necessities. What are inexpensive necessities? Now these are the goods which are your necessities and they are not very expensive. For example, let's say salt in our house. It's a necessity but not very expensive. Toothpaste, newspaper, because in many of the families reading newspaper is like ultimate, like they have to, like morning newspaper routine has to be there. But very frankly, you don't spend a lot of income on them. These are the goods on which you spend a very small proportion of your income. But they are your necessities. So when your income increases, maybe you will consume a bit more of them, little bit. But as your income keep on increasing, you will bring a limit to that consumption. Okay, little income increase, you will consume bit more. But as your income keep on increasing, still your consumption will remain constant. You will stop increasing their consumption. Because these are the goods on which there is upper limit of consumption. For example, let's say if your income is OY, you will consume OQ. Now when your income increase from OY to OY1, you will consume OQ1. Okay. But now if your income goes up, अगर OY1 से बढ़ के OY2 हो गया, still you will consume same only. You will still consume OQ1 only. You will not increase your consumption. 1 point till 1 point you will increase your consumption. But then how much our income increases, तुम्हारा consumption constant रहेगा. Your consumption will remain constant. Why? Because they are very inexpensive, not very expensive necessities. I mean, if my income increases, maybe I will buy one in एक की जगह पे 2 packet of salt. But there is a limit. How much more will I buy? It is not going to help me to buy more and more of these things, because we don't want these goods to be more. Like for example, in my house, if I am getting one toothpaste, maybe I will get 2 toothpaste when my income increases. But I will not keep on buying many toothpaste as my income is increasing. No. These are the products in a month I might need 2 or 3 max to max. So why will I buy more? And these goods are not very expensive. You have a limit for their consumption. So the graph for inexpensive necessity till 1 point increases, but then how much ever your income increase, it start getting constant. It start getting constant. You will not consume more of them. You will not consume more of them. Because they have upper limit of consumption. They have upper limit of consumption. So this is how your income curve will look like. All the 3 goods, normal goods and income direct relationship. Inferior goods and income inverse relationship. Inexpensive necessity till one point it will increase, but then it will remain constant. So that is income. The next factor that affects your demand is consumer taste and preference. Consumer taste and preference. Now, something is your taste, something is your preference, you will still continue buying it. So the demand of that commodity will always be high for you. But if something is not your taste and preference, the demand of that commodity is always going to be low. The next factor that affect the demand is consumer credit facility. Credit means loan. If anything is available on loan easily at a cheaper interest rate, demand of that commodity will always be high. Why do you think the number of cars have increased so much? Why people are able to buy smartphones so easily? On smartphones, maximum time, what policy they have? You can buy smartphones on EMI with 0% interest rate. That means credit facility is available, that too at a 0% interest rate. So even if they are in lakhs of rupees, like they are 1,20,000, 1,50,000, why people still buy them? Because they are available at credit facility at a very low interest rate. Why cars are buying? People are buying so many cars nowadays because on car loan facility is available very easily, and that too at a very low interest rate. So when consumer credit facility is available, demand will always be up. When consumer credit facility is not available, demand will be low. Then next factor is future expectation about price. If you feel in future price is going to rise, so you will demand more right now, because you feel in future it will become expensive, so rather I buy now. For example, when you want to buy AC, and if it is summer going to approach, I know the moment summer will come, AC prices will go up. So what will you do? You will demand more right now. But if you feel in future price is going to drop, you will demand less right now, because you will wait for the price to drop. So what is your expectation? What is the expectation of that price to be rising or falling in future? That will also affect the demand. Then the next factor that affect the demand is climate and season. If something is like, for example, in India, cotton clothes demand is always high because India has tropical climate. That is why cotton clothes are always in demand. In cold countries, in polar areas if you go, demand for fur clothing is always high because of the climate they have. So climate also affects your demand. Let me erase this so that we can have more factors to be written. So first thing I spoke about was price, second was income, third was consumer taste and preference, fourth was credit facility, fifth was future price, sixth was climate and season. Seventh, demonstration effect. Many of the commodity have demand purely because of demonstration effect. Some people buy certain commodity only because other people they want to imitate, maybe their friends or their groups. They feel they have it, so even I should have it. You know, if you see, maximum time people buy a lot of branded stuff, or they buy a lot of trending stuff only because other people have it, so they buy it. So that is called as demonstration effect. That also create demand. So that was 7th. 8th, population and composition will also affect demand. If population of your area or country is more, demand will be more. If population is less, demand will be less. Also, the composition of population will affect the demand. If your population has more of the young people, for example, maybe then the demand of fashion clothes will be more. The demand for sports goods will be more. But if there is a more population of, let's say, old people, maybe demand for medicines will be more. So, what type of people are there, that will also affect your demand. Ninth, government policy. Now, government policy play a very important role in demand. If you all know, last year, just before Diwali, government had reduced GST, because of which the 4 days of Diwali when people were doing all shopping, the demand went up. Why? Because government reduced the tax rate. So when government reduces tax rate or government gives some subsidy, like many times we have seen certain movies, government make it tax free. Why? Or they charge, government tell to all the theatre owners to charge a very nominal ticket fare. Because government want that this movie is good, people should get message. So they make it tax free. So what do we see at that time? Demand goes up. Because government has given subsidy. But if government impose tax, that thing become expensive, so the demand of the commodity goes down. So government impose tax, demand will be less. Government gives subsidy, demand will be more. Then the 10th factor is distribution of income. That will also affect your demand. So is your country, in your country, income is evenly distributed or not? For example, if wealth in your country is concentrated in the hands of few rich people, in that case the demand for luxury goods will be more. But if in your country income is equally distributed, then the demand for essential goods will be more. Demand for essential goods will be more. And now the last and the most important factor, I'll have to erase the board, kids. The last and the most important factor that affects your demand is, the 11th factor that affects your demand is price of the related goods. Price of related goods. There are two types of related goods. The first type of related goods is complementary goods. And the second type of related goods are substitute goods. Now complementary goods, let's take example, petrol and car. Now if the price of petrol goes up, what will be its impact on car? What will be its impact on demand of car? Demand of car will fall down. Because car runs on petrol, right? So the demand of car will fall. What type of relationship they show? Inverse. What type of relationship they show? Inverse. Let me show this graphically. We will draw this complementary curve, products curve on graph. Y-axis, x-axis 0. So on y-axis, let's say price of petrol. On x-axis, we write demand of car. P, P1, Q, Q1. So when the price of the petrol was OP, demand for the car was OQ. Correct? I'm so sorry. When the price was less, demand for the car was more. People were demanding OQ car. Now when the price of the petrol increased from OP to OP1, the demand of the car fell down. The demand of the car fell down. This is how the demand curve for petrol and car will be. This is how the demand curve for car and petrol will be. So when the price of the petrol increased from OP to OP1, people started demanding less of the car. This diagram shows inverse relationship between car and petrol. It shows inverse relationship between car and petrol. Okay, let me show you the other thing, substitute goods. Let's take example of tea and coffee. Substitute means which can be used in place of other. Sugar, jaggery, they both can be used for sweetening. Tea, coffee. So now, if the price goes up for tea, people will stop consuming tea. What will happen to demand of coffee? Price of tea going up and down, demand for coffee will go up because people will now switch to coffee as they are getting the same satisfaction. How will you show it graphically? So, y-axis x0. Here we show price of tea and here we show demand of coffee. So when the price of tea was less, OP, people were demanding. When the price was OP, people were demanding OQ. When the price of tea went up, people started demanding more of the coffee. So the demand of coffee went up. This is showing direct relationship between price of tea and demand for coffee. So remember one thing, complementary goods. Complementary goods will always have inverse relationship. Price of one commodity will rise, the demand of its complementary goods will fall. But substitute goods will have direct relationship. Price of one good will increase, the demand of its substitute good will also increase. Because that will become expensive, so people will start buying the cheaper substitute of that good. So this factor also affect the demand. So total there are 11 factors that affect demand. Price, income, prices of the related goods, taste and preference, consumer credit facility, then there was future expectation about the prices, demonstration effect, climate, government policy, population and distribution of income. These are the factors that can cause increase or decrease in demand. That can cause increase or decrease in demand. Since this factor causes increase and decrease in demand, they are called as determinant of demand. How they have impact on demand, that's what we discussed. That is called as demand function. Demand function means what? Relationship of the various factor with demand. How various factor will affect demand, that is called as demand function. Now kids, remember one thing. This is a table which is showing price and quantity. When price is rupees 10, people demand 2 kg. When price fall down to rupees 8, people demand 4 kg. Now this is a table. This is a tabular representation which is showing the quantity of the goods demanded at various prices. Tabular representation को economics में बोला जाता है schedule. This is demand schedule. It is showing how much quantity of the goods are demanded at various prices by one consumer. So it is called as individual demand schedule. Now, similarly, price A, B, A plus B. When price was 10, A was demanding 1 kg, B was demanding 2 kg. A plus B का हो गया 3. When price fell down to 8, let's say A demand 2 kg, B demand 3 kg and total is 5. Now this is also tabular representation. This is also showing the quantity of the goods demanded at various prices. But this is showing quantity of the goods demanded at various prices by more than one consumer. So this is called as market demand schedule. Any tabular representations are called as schedule. The same information I can show graphically also. Y, X, 0. Here we show price Here we show quantity of the goods demanded. So when the price was 10, the goods demanded was 2 kg. When price fell down to 8, the goods demanded was 4 kg. This is same information but graphically. This is showing y-axis is showing price, x-axis is showing quantity of the goods demanded. It shows that when the price was 10, quantity of the goods demanded was 2 kg. When price became 8, the quantity of the goods demanded is 4 kg. This DD is called as demand curve, which is sloping downward. This is called as sloping downward from left to right. Sloping downward क्यों होता है? Because it is inversely related. Price and demand are inversely related. So this is called as individual demand curve. This is called as individual demand curve. Now, same way हम लोग मार्केट का भी बता सकते हैं y0. Same way now, if I have to draw market demand curve, I'll draw for A, I'll draw for B, and then I'll draw for A and B together. I'll draw for A and B together. So this is called as market demand curve. You will draw 3 times. If there are 2 customers, you will draw individual and then you will draw for 2 of them together. But this usually they don't ask. This is just for your knowledge. Okay. So these are the factors and these are basic term to understand demand schedule, demand curve. Now let us understand a situation. Let us understand law of demand. Now law of demand believes, we discussed right now 11 determinants that affect demand. Your demand can get affected because of a lot of things. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say I go to buy this bottle in the market. Okay, I asked the price, I got to know the price of the bottle has gone up. So I told you when the price goes up, people buy less. So I will buy less. I will say no, I don't want to buy. But at the same time, my income has gone up. So I will say let's buy it. Or maybe this bottle is my taste and preference. Even though price has gone up, I will still buy it because this is my preference. I like such bottles. So here did you see my buying behavior of bottle got affected by price, by taste and preference, by my income, everything. But now let me give you law of demand. Law of demand believe that let us assume a situation where all the factors are constant except for one, price. Your income is constant, your taste and preference is constant, price of the related goods are constant. There is no change in government policy, there is no change in credit facility. In future, price is not going to change. When all other factors are constant, only one thing is changing, price. So when price is increasing, you will demand less. And when price is falling, you will demand more. Other factors are not going to influence your decision. When your decision is going to get influenced only by price, price goes up, demand falls, price falls, demand goes up. Other thing when they are constant, economics में other thing constant को क्या बोलते हैं? Ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means other thing are constant. When the price of a commodity goes up, your demand will fall. When the price of a commodity falls, your demand will go up. That is called as law of demand. According to law of demand, price and demand has inverse relationship. Price and demand has inverse relationship. That is why demand curve slow downward. Demand curve slow downward. According to law of demand, when price is 10, demand is 2 kg. When price falls down to 8, demand increases to 4 kg. How is the demand curve? Your demand curve is sloping downward. When price is falling, demand is increasing. This clearly represents inverse relationship between price and demand. It represents inverse relationship between price and demand. So this is called as law of demand. Law of demand says that demand curve slope downward. Law of demand says that demand and price has inverse relationship. Why? Why when price goes up people buy less, when price goes down why demand increases? Why demand increases when price is low? Why demand decreases when price is less? Price is more. So first, let us understand the reason why price more, demand less. In short, why demand curve slope downward? Why demand curve slope downward? Why? So first reason is DMU. What is DMU? Diminishing marginal utility. Let us understand this. You are a rational consumer. Now, a rational consumer wants to maximize his utility. We are a rational consumer, we want to maximize our utility. We want to make sure that how much ever money we are giving, we should get same utility from that. We should not get less utility from that. If we are getting less utility from the money which we are spending, we will not prefer to spend more on that. Let's take an example. Let's say you are super hungry. You order 6 slice pizza. You consume first pizza slice. You were super hungry, so the first slice of pizza gave you a lot of satisfaction, because you were super hungry. So your utility was like 100%, like so very good. You felt whatever money I have given, it's worth. Now you ate the second slice of pizza. Now the satisfaction or the utility which you will derive from the second slice of pizza will not be same with what you got from first, because now already you have eaten something. So your utility from second unit of pizza will decrease. You consume one more. So now your utility, what you will derive from this will be lesser as compared to the first two. You consume one more, it will become very less. In fact, you might not want to eat also now because already you are very full. You keep on consuming. Maybe the fifth unit will give me utility which is nothing. I am not getting any satisfaction. I am feeling, why should I spend my money on this? So, did you notice here, every additional unit you are consuming, what do we say additional? Marginal. Additional को क्या बोलते हैं? Marginal. Every marginal unit you are consuming is giving you utility which is decreasing, which is not increasing. So, if you are a rational consumer, you would want to spend less on those marginal unit. So, you would prefer to buy those marginal unit only if the price is low, because the utility you are deriving from them is not increasing, is diminishing. Then why would you want to buy them more at a higher price? You would want to buy them more, but only if the price is low. That is why people buy more when the price is less. Second reason is income effect. So let me explain you income effect. Let's say in market there were apples for rupees 100 per kg. You were buying 2 kg apple, you ended up spending 200 rupees. Now the same apple price fell down to rupees 80 per kg. Now if you buy 2 kg of apple, it will cost you rupees 160. It will cost you rupees 160. Earlier the same apple you were spending 200, now you are spending less. That means by 40 rupees. By 40 rupees your purchasing power has increased. In short, your real income has increased. It has increased by how much? By 40 rupees. Your real income has increased. your purchasing power. Economics mein, what is real income? Your purchasing power has increased by 40 rupees. So now you will buy more. So when the price of a commodity falls, your real income increases. Your real income increases. So you buy more when the price is less, and you buy less when the price is more. The third reason is substitution effect. Substitution effect. Now, see, for a rational consumer, what matter is the satisfaction they get. If there is a consumer who gets same satisfaction from tea or coffee, he or she has been consuming tea. Now the price of the tea goes up and the price of the coffee remains same. So consumer will demand now less of the tea and he will switch to coffee because the same satisfaction he can get from coffee at a lower price. At a lower price, then why would he spend more on that? When you can get same satisfaction at a lower price by consuming its substitute, why will you spend more? So that is called as substitution effect. That is also the reason that when a price of a commodity falls, people buy more of it. And when the price of a commodity rises, people buy less of it. The fourth factor is number of consumer. See, when any commodity become expensive, the existing consumer will stop consuming those commodities. They will leave the market, they will not buy it. Nowadays we can see flight prices have gone up. So many people have stopped going by flight. Nowadays they are going by Vande Bharat, which are very good trains with good conditions. So the people who are going by flights have left the flight journey and they have started going by train because the price of the airfare has gone up. So when the price of a commodity goes up, existing consumers start leaving the market. As a result, demand will fall. But when a price of a commodity falls, the new consumer also enter the market. As a result, the demand goes up. And last factor is multiple uses. So if any commodity which can be put to multiple use, if that commodity become expensive, if the price of that commodity goes up, you will use that commodity only for the one which is the most urgent one. You will restrict the use of that commodity only to the one which is very, very urgent. As a result, demand for that commodity will fall. But if the same goods become cheaper, you will start using it for multiple purposes. You will start using it for multiple purposes. As a result, the demand for that commodity will go up. So that is also one of the reasons that why demand goes up and the price falls. These are the 5 reasons: DMU, income effect, substitution effect, number of consumer entering the market or leaving the market, and multiple uses. These are the reasons that causes impact, that causes demand to fall when price goes up, demand to rise when price goes down. This explains why demand curve slow downward. Why demand curve slow downward.